Hi, it's Paula from Pola Quilting. Welcome or welcome back. In today's tutorial I will be showing you how I designed a quilt using the blocks I already had in my stash and using magic number principle. What are magic number blocks? Those are all the size of the blocks where finish you can divide by 2 inches. So for example, 2.5 by 2.5 cot, 2.5 by 4.5, 4.5 by 4.5, 6.5 by 6.5, 4.5 by 6.5. You get the idea. Previously I made some 8.5 inch string blocks, and I also made some 2.5 by 4.5 spikes on strings blocks, which were shown in previous tutorials. Both of those blocks got sizes within the magic number principle. This pattern can be used with any block you will have within that sizing. Magic numbers are great to design patterns because everything will fit nicely at the end. I've prepared the PDF document with the designs and also with some other options how you can swap the blocks. The document is available on my Facebook group page, Pola Quilting with Friends. First step I completed was to sew 4 of each of those spikes on stripes blocks together. So that is giving me now 8.5 inch in the length. Those blocks are 8.5 inch square, so going together they can fit perfectly, and I could, just quickly sew them this way. Create very easy design, kind of, quick chain piecing. Here we go. That would look nice. Instead of this type of block, you could here have a 4 patch of 4.5 inch squares, or maybe a crumb block, or even a plain block, because those ones are quite colorful. Then if you have a plain block, goes nicely as well. But this design, as nice as it can be, it wasn't complicated enough. So I was doing different things. So as they are magic numbers and with the sizes they are on, I thought let's do something else. So I could do something like that. Obviously that will match, but then I can twist those and go from this directions, because 2 blocks sewn together are the same measurement as those 3 sewn this way. So here we go. That's another great layout, and I actually did like it very much. And let's have a look to the bigger design board and let's see how it look together in the bigger scale. So the layout I showed you on the desk is that one, but again, to add to the design, I turn around this side other way around, and I've got the layout here mapped out for a lap quilt which will finish 48 by 60 inches. You don't have to draw anything. I will have it up on my Facebook group page, so you can have a look and download it. So this is how I pointed all the spikes going up and down from the block, so they always the black links to the block. And then I'm starting here with the middle block up, but on this side the middle block is down. So I'm twisting a little bit both sides to have them slightly different. And then I've got that secondary pattern here with like windmill from those spiky blocks. And again, like I mentioned, you can replace this block with any other block which will be 8.5 inch. Have a look at your maybe some sampler blocks you've been doing to check out some patterns. Maybe you can fit something of those there. Let me see if I've got any other 8.5 inch blocks. Okay, so I've got some pink crumbs I did for something else. So if I take those out and put the crumbs blocks in, So as you can see, that changes how the block, you know, the quilt feel like, but it looks very good too. So as far as you're keeping yourself within the sizes, magic numbers, you can put in that design any other block. Okay, so I will finish putting my layout. I've got two of those kind of big blocks this way and three down. So I've got another two blocks to lay, and then I can start putting them all together. And how I want to go about sewing them, that's a very interesting question. Now, not all of us got a design wall where you can leave your work hanging out, and not all of us have a time to actually maybe sew it in one go either. So you kind of have to find a way of being able to pack it up if necessary. So what I will do, I will kind of overlap my blocks so it will create the smallest amount I need to kind of handle. So like I mentioned, I've got two big blocks through the width and three blocks down, and they are the same. So what I just need to do is, as I'm kind of, you know, I've laid it all down, and I've got three the same blocks here and three the same blocks here. So I want to just put them on top of each other. I'll just use pins to hold it because obviously it will not stick anymore, in exactly the way they will be later stitched, and then I can easily move it around if I need to. And now I can add some stickers. For example, calling this side A, side B, row 1, row 2, block A, B, C, D, E, however you want it. I mean, it will all depend how much space you have for it to kind of come together. I can leave it as is on my design board, so I don't have to number anything. But you can now use those stickers and pin them, and then when you print yourself a layout, you can obviously mark on the layout which block is which one, so when you're putting them together, you know how to lay them out. Putting it together on top of each other works well, because I can now go to the machine and chain piece. I will chain piece this, I will chain piece this, I will chain piece this, then I will chain this, this and this, and then sew them together, and then I will make a big block. And then obviously those three blocks goes together. So you can work out where the chain piecing can be, but like I said, make sure you use some sort of marking system which you prefer to be able to, you can distinguish between each individual parts. Now where the stacks are ready, you can take one stack at a time or two stacks at a time, depends how you feel comfortable or how much space you've got at your machine, and start piecing them together in a kind of little bit quicker, because you won't be working on one individual block at the time. As you can see, I've sewn all of my individual stacks. So my quilt has been designed to go without borders. This is going to be basically it. And I'm happy with the size because it's a lap quilt. But if you want to do the borders, I would recommend you to have a look at a tutorial called Perfect Borders Every Time, and I will link it in the description below. Because if you do want to add borders or even scrappy borders, then this is the time to do it, because you will then cut your pieces 12.5 here, a corner, depend of the width of your border, then obviously the corner will be a square of that size, and then 8.5 this way. You will put it all around. So when I would have sewing those ones, I would have that strip of the border, then I would have sewn this to this, that one to that, and leave it at that as a piece. Then again border, those three together, and then I can add the top of it, corner and the top of it, and sew it into one block. Same on the other side. The middle one part would only have a sides added to it, and then the bottom obviously will be the same thing as here. But that would be the perfect time to add the borders at this point of time. I'm not adding it, so I will just crack on and start sewing individual stacks together. So now I can take those two to sew them, and then I will take those 3 to sew them. Same with this side, and then I can put all of the individual big blocks together. As you have seen, I have chain pieced a half of the quilt without taking anything to ironing board. Scrap quilting is very forgiving in that aspect. I also don't overthink my nesting. I do where I can nest individual pieces, but with scrap blocks where they may be a bit thicker because you're using muslin or other fabric as a background, or there are multiple layers like in the spikes on stripes, I do often allow for fabric to guide me which way the fabric like to go. In the long run, it does look better on the front side and nobody will ever look inside. Patting allows to thicker pieces to sink in it as well, and after washing it all even itself out. And here it is, my finished quilt. It came together very quickly as I had all blocks ready. For spiky look you can snowball rectangles instead using black fabric. For backing I used bedding I bought in IKEA on sale recently. Double size bedding for £5. It's a lot of cheap fabric for quilting and it is dense 100% cotton, so great. As a rule, if it's good to sleep under, it's good to go on the back of my quilt. And as a bonus, you don't have to sew together pieces because it's wide enough. I quilted it using decorative stitch and just go in wavy lines close to each other. I included in the PDF document information how you can swap individual blocks depending on what you have available. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial and you get inspired to check your own UFOs and perhaps some scrap boxes with blocks you have done before, and if they are within the magic numbers you can maybe use them to put quickly a quilt like that. I created a playlist called Magic Numbers Design, so everything done within that principle will be available for you in that one place. As usual, check the description below for links to all mentioned tutorials and other resources. Thank you for watching and see you next time.